The Dacia Logan launched the Romanian brand into the open world, introducing people who no longer had hopes of buying an affordable family car to their cars. The simple technology of the first generation made it one of the cheapest cars to maintain to this day. Have modern engines transformed the Logan II? How does this model perform after all these years? Contrary to popular belief, the Dacia Logan II is not built on the same platform as the Renault Clio, although it shares many components. This was the case with the Logan I, which shared the Clio 3 platform. In the case of the second generation, the M0 platform is exclusively designed for Dacia models, including all models offered at the time except for the Duster. It was nothing more than a development of the previously used B0 platform. Therefore, in terms of chassis, the Logan II was an exceptionally outdated car, but it featured modern powertrains. The car was offered exclusively with front-wheel drive. Suspension was by McPherson struts at the front and a torsion beam at the rear. Power steering was provided by an electro-hydraulic system. Every Logan and Sandero was equipped with ABS and especially engines. The engine lineup was quite limited, although looking at it through the lens of today's manufacturers' offerings, one might disagree. Initially, the lineup included the simple 1.2 MPI petrol engine familiar from its predecessor, but after the facelift, it was replaced by a more modern, Euro 6 compliant 1-liter 3-cylinder engine. Throughout its production run, a new, turbocharged, 3-cylinder 0.9-liter engine called the TCE was installed, producing 90 horsepower. In 2020, it was replaced by the 1.0-liter TCE engine with 100 horsepower. Dacia equipped these engines with a factory LPG system. After the facelift, the 0.9-liter engine received a start and stop system. The diesel engine range consists of 3 power variants of a single engine. Both were offered throughout the entire production run, and from the facelift onwards, they were also equipped with a start and stop system and met the Euro 6 standard. At the end of production, they even met the Euro 6 detemp standard, which could be crucial for residents of cities with clean transport zones. We should also mention cars offered on Eastern markets, including Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine, which now occasionally appear in Poland. These are excellent variants with 1.68 volts and 16 volts engines, slightly more fuel efficient but exceptionally durable, especially those produced until 2016. Virtually all Dacia Logan variants had 5-speed manual gearboxes. After the facelift, customers in some markets had the option of ordering the 0.9 TCE and 1.5 DCI 90 HP engines with the EasyR automated gearbox, with 5 speeds for the petrol engine, very rare, only in the Logan MCV, and 6 speeds for the diesel engine, even rarer in select markets. Which engine to choose? If performance isn't your primary concern, even the entry-level engines are a good source of power. Both the older 4-cylinder and the newer 3-cylinder engines handle mileage without major problems. They consume similar amounts of fuel, around 6 liters per 100 kilometers. The older engine's refinement is higher, and its dynamics are similar, but it requires more frequent maintenance, specifically timing belt replacement. The smaller engine has a chain. The ideal compromise between fuel consumption and performance is the 0.9 TCE unit, described in more detail in the article below. This engine is virtually trouble-free, giving the Logan good performance while averaging around 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers and requiring no expensive repairs. It features indirect injection and durable mechanics, and despite its 3-cylinder design and small displacement, its durability is above average. Very similar opinions prevail regarding the newer incarnation of this engine, the 1.0 TCE, also 3-cylinder. It offers even better, more enjoyable dynamics. The engine remains installed in Dacias to this day, with some minor improvements, of course. However, these improvements are not related to defects, but rather to emission standards. Both turbocharged petrol engines handle LPG well. However, both also share a common problem: very high fuel consumption in city driving with the air conditioning on. Fuel consumption increases by as much as 50 to 60%. That's why if you're driving a Logan with a taxi driver, you're probably traveling without air conditioning. All 3-cylinder engines have a timing chain, which generally presents no problems. If replacement is necessary, a repair kit can be purchased for around €600, although a complete set of components costs around €1,500. The 1.2 MPI engine and diesel engines have a timing belt, €250, 400 for parts, which should be replaced every 100,000 kilometers, although in diesels it can last up to twice as long. The 1.5 DCI diesels in the Logan II don't pose any significant problems, although it's worth remembering that these are modern designs with common rail injection, so they can require expensive repairs. In practice, parts for the DCI engine are readily available at relatively low prices, with the only option being injectors. Neither diesel version has a dual-mass flywheel. The performance of the 90 horsepower version leaves little to be desired, and fuel consumption hovers around 5 liters per 100 kilometers. In my opinion, the best power source for the Logan is the 0.9 TCE petrol for cruising around town and the 1.5 DCI diesel, no matter which power variant, for city driving and highway driving. If you plan to keep this car for a long time, it's worth having the diesel engine thoroughly inspected after purchase, and it will serve you well for years to come. Other engines will also perform well, although they may lack power. After the Logan I, which suffered from many childhood ailments, the new Logan has proven to be a remarkably successful car. Although the styling and bodywork are different, in many technical areas, the Logan II is simply a deeply modernized, highly refined version of the Logan I. This also ensures that regardless of the service approach or the region it is driven in, this car offers great durability and eliminates the need for difficult-to-solve problems. Of course, the car isn't immune to a few typical failures, and all of those described here also apply to the Sandero. One example is the turn signal switch, which also turns on the headlights. Repairs require disassembly and inspection of the contacts or involve replacing the entire switch. Another common car problem is a cracked coolant reservoir after a long mileage. This crack causes fluid to leak from the system, which can lead to engine overheating. If fluid is leaking from the system, it's best to start troubleshooting the reservoir. It's best to replace it with an original one, as aftermarket replacements are usually of poor quality. Bearings in gearboxes sometimes need to be replaced, although these are quite rare cases and only happen in cars with high mileage. The suspension is quite durable and inexpensive to repair. The front wishbones are most often replaced, although the entire wishbone isn't expensive enough to be necessary. A complete one can cost less than €100. A design feature of the front suspension is the absence of stabilizer links, which are one of the most vulnerable components in many cars. Here, the stabilizer is bolted almost directly to the control arm, reducing the cost of ownership. The rear suspension is completely maintenance-free, although after major mileage, 2 €100 axle bushings may require replacement. The Logan II's body and chassis don't rust at the same rate as the Logan I. Protection is significantly better, although the paint's durability isn't very high. Typically, minor corrosion appears in areas that are frequently impacted or worn, at the joints of body parts, edges, and in process holes. Serious corrosion is most often found on cars with a history of accidents.